Hello, I am back with another Big Brother stream. It it has been a while. I did not plan on stopping. I really didn't. I wanted to do this all the way through the season. I wanted to do it a couple times a week, just as often as I could. But life life went a little crazy for me, and it started going crazy. Okay, so the last time I did one of these was I I believe it was the day that Sarah Beth backdoored Derek X. Like it was, she hadn't actually done it yet, but we knew it was coming. Like I did it the morning of, or earlier in the day. I'm pretty sure it was in the morning. And yeah, I was just so done at that point. I was just so deflated. I didn't miss an episode. I missed one episode because I went to a comedy show, but actually I missed two shows because of it. But yes, I stuck with it, but I didn't read as many updates. For the most part, I just kind of became a casual. And yeah, just it's just a recap of what happened with me that day. The day I did my last stream. That night, I had a comedy class because I was taking one, and I had to take the train to it. I live south of Boston. I had to go just north of Boston. I had to take a train there. So I get there. I'm waiting outside the building in the rain for someone to show up to open the door, and no one does. Finally, I messaged the host of the show. I'm like, "Where are you? Where is everybody?" And he's like, "Class was canceled because the building flooded over the weekend." I'm like, "No one told me. No one told me. I didn't get the email. I was the only person in the class that did not get the email." So yeah, that happened. Then, on the way home, now bear in mind, this is a train ride I shouldn't have even had to take in the first place. But on the way home, like, I have an interaction with a guy, and, like, long story short, I ended up being worried that I was scammed. Like, I didn't give him any money or anything, but, like I let him kind of use my phone. I mean, I did let him use my phone, just, like, to call somebody. Like, I dialed it, I just held it up to him, put it on speakerphone, he just talked to his girlfriend because he didn't have his. I'm like, okay, I believed him, but then afterwards I'm like, did I just get ripped off? And I was just so paranoid about it. But I didn't have to worry about that too long because the next day, my phone broke. And I now have a new one. And then just like it just kept going. It was just an unrealistic streak of bad luck for me. And yeah, I couldn't focus enough to pay attention to updates, to watch videos that were updates. I couldn't keep up. I just couldn't do it. But I'm back now. Of course, now that the season's over. So I'm just gonna give some of my thoughts on what happened since I've been away. I'll try to go through it as fast as I can, but I do have quite a few thoughts. So start with the first thing. Obviously, Derek X's elimination. That was one of the most brutal sequences of events I had ever seen. Like, I was experiencing bad luck, and so was Derek X. And like watching him have such a bad luck streak was just more bad luck for me. So let's just go through the number of ways that what happened that week could have been avoided. First of all, the HOH competition itself. If he hadn't gone the skinny route, that would have been like a shortcut. If he hadn't tried that, if he just stuck with it, he would have beat Sarabeth's time. Instead, he tried it, fell off. That cost him probably 4 seconds, maybe. He has to go back, do it again. Didn't fall again, but he was like a tenth of a second behind Sarabeth. And, I had severe BB22 flashbacks from that. Because Janelle, Kaser, Davon, Nicole A., they were so close to winning HOH the week that either they or their closest ally was evicted. Nicole A., Janelle, Kaser were evicted, and Davon almost won HOH, but since she was nominated and her ally Bailey was eliminated. I don't know what it is. Every time I stream, my nose gets itchy. I don't know what it is. It's so irritating to me. I thought maybe not streaming for a while like this would make a difference, but no, it didn't. Anyway, so that was the first way that whole week could have been avoided. And then, of course, if he'd gone for the high roller room, he would have got it. That competition, he could have beat Alyssa, for sure. And then at the actual eviction, the vote was 5-2. It was Hannah and Kylan that voted to keep him. Now, I get that this was probably the plan all along, to give him that 5-2 vote, but if Tiffany and Ozza had just followed their hearts and done what they thought was better for their games, and actually did decide to follow through with keeping Derek X, because they did. Like, they had Kylan, they got him to throw a sympathy vote, so they could have flipped the vote. But I guess that wasn't the plan. So they got rid of him. And, even if they had followed through, then that would have meant Claire would have gone, and I didn't really want that either because I like Claire. And, she was on my draft team. But enough about that. And then, of course, it turned out there was extra money available afterwards. So Derek X could have played. He could have got 100 again the next week, which he would have. He absolutely would have. And then if he had... Hold on. Okay, so he would have had $200. No, he had $200. He decided not to go for the roulette thing. Decided not to go for that. That was 125. So he would have had 75 if he had gone for it. If he had still won 100 again the next week, which I'm pretty sure he would have, that would have been 175. And then there were the envelopes, 50, 75, or 100. If he found even just a $75 envelope, as long as he didn't find a $50 envelope, he could have done the coin flip. And I just wish that there were some hints that maybe there'll be other ways to win money. It's not just gonna be this. That really could have, that could have helped him. That could have helped Sarah Beth also. Because, that's what frustrated me about her HOH. It's you're going next. It's very obvious you're gonna go next. So it's why? I said this so many times. Kylan spent hours trying to change her mind. She did not want to put up Derek X. And then Kylan spent 4 hours talking to her and got her to change her mind and target Derek X. And I'm like, Sarah Beth, if someone wants you to make a move and spends this much time telling you to make that move, it is not the move for you. It is the move for them. But no, she was misted by Kylan. And I'm not even mad at Sarah Beth anymore for her HOH. It was Kylan. He ran that. He ran that whole thing. And, it's just I can't tell you how much I hate Kylan at this point. But I will get to that as well. I will get to that. But yeah, at the time, I was just, so mad at Sarah Beth for what she did. She could have been a little more, independent. She could have stood up for herself more instead of just being walked over by Kylan. And to a lesser extent, Xavier, because he was in her ear as well. But, I was just so mad at her, I couldn't even enjoy her last week because I knew it was coming. I'm she doesn't win the veto, she's done. And I will admit, I got some sadistic glee at the fact that she lost by a very small margin. I think Hannah was only 20-something seconds between them. Hannah won and Sarah Beth was second by 20-something points. That's That's karma right there. I'm sorry. So yeah, I was just so mad at her. I couldn't fully enjoy it, even with her getting hit by karma. And also, like, there was the fact that yeah, it was Kylan. Kylan was the reason that Cerebus HOH was an abomination. So after that, now Tiffany did win HOH that week, but she was dethroned in the my chair fell. It does that sometimes. Sorry. Tiffany won HOH, but Claire got the coin flip, and she successfully flipped the coin and was the secret HOH that week. And because of that, Tiffany got to play in the next HOH. And Claire did as well, but she had to throw it. And just, I was not mad that Tiffany won a second HOH. I was mad at how everyone else took it. Because, like, okay, I think the plan was they were going to throw it to Ozza. But the final three that were hanging, because it was like the hang on competition, you just have to hold on to the rope. The final three were Tiffany, Kylan, and Ozza. And Kylan wasn't dropping. Like the plan was to throw it to Ozza, but Kylan was still hanging on, and Tiffany didn't want another Kylan HOH because she, like most of the house, was sick of him. And then Ozza dropped. And Tiffany's like, well, I'm not dropping now. I'm not giving Kylan another HOH. But then everyone was mad at Tiffany. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You actually wanted another Kylan HOH? So that was dumb. I was very annoyed with everybody for that. Like, all the men of the cookout handled that very poorly. Don't even get me started on how Derek F. took it. Like, that really showed that he is a spoiled rich kid. He's a spoiled kid with a famous father. And he's talking about how his mom needs all the money. I'm like, if you have no money left from your father, then that's on you. But yeah, everyone was just blaming Tiffany for not dropping and giving it to Ozzy when Kylan was still up there. But I mean, like, in hindsight, I guess it would have been kind of a genius move for Tiffany to drop and be third place in that competition. Then it's Ozza and Kylan. And then Kylan either has to throw it to Ozza or doesn't, and then everyone hates him, and then Tiffany is clean. So I guess maybe that's what she should have done in hindsight, but then again, she probably didn't realize they'd be so petty about it. Even Ozza was upset with her for that. Hannah wasn't. Like, Hannah was just like, okay, if you want to be mad at Tiffany, that's fine. I'm just gonna stand over here. You all turn on each other, and hopefully I won't get in trouble, and I won't be targeted. Yeah, that's another thing that we'll get to. But yeah, it's like, why did Kylan suffer no consequences for not dropping? Like, would he have dropped for Ozza if Tiffany had fallen first? Part of me thinks he wouldn't. So they were mad at Tiffany mostly because the plan, like, they all wanted Claire to be the next one out, but Tiffany wanted Alyssa. And then Tiffany won HOH, and they were like, okay, so you're not going to put up Claire now. This is like what we agreed to. And I'm just like, what's the difference? Claire's probably not going to win anything going forward either, because Claire only won a few competitions in her time there. One of them she had to keep a secret. Although everyone kind of knew. Except Sarah Beth, I guess. But Tiffany wins, and she decides to stick with the plan she had of, like, to keep the cookout hidden, nominate the target, who was outside the alliance, and their duo. So, in that case, Tiffany ended up nominating Alyssa and Xavier. And Xavier was saying, uh, he was saying, what if I win the veto and I use it on Alyssa? Then what are you going to do, Tiffany? And I'm like, she'll nominate someone who won't go home over you. Because she could easily flip that into you betraying the cookout. Like, she probably could have put up Derek, because she didn't like him either. Because that man did not. Derek F. does not respect women. Okay? There. I said it. It's out there. It's out there. I said it. He doesn't. So, yeah. She could have put the two of them up. And then been like, okay, house, you decide. I think Xavier might have even gone in that instance. But that isn't what happened because Alyssa won the veto for herself. And I gotta say, Alyssa would win vetoes at the most inconvenient times. Both of her veto wins were like, I mean, granted, it saved her life. Both of her veto wins saved her life. And also, I believe the roulette wheel gave her immunity, if I'm not mistaken. But, I don't know. She wouldn't have been the target that week anyway. But still, her first veto win, she was the target, and then Kylan had to send Brittany home, and that was very rough for Brittany. And then Alyssa wins the mini veto, micro veto, whatever. They have to stack the cups. It was the one that Davon won last season. Which also, like, Davon came in clutch winning that one. And, like, Alyssa came in clutch saving herself, but this time we were not exactly happy to see it happen. Because Alyssa won, and then Tiffany realized she had to put up Claire. Because she didn't want to. She wanted the cookout to make it to the final six. And I'm like, okay, well, Xavier, Derek, Kylan, she's doing it now. She's going to put up Claire. You're going to get your way, so you're going to give her a break, right? She proved that she is more loyal to the cookout than to Claire, right? No, that did not happen at all. But we still got one more week. But yeah, one more HOH reign. Claire's exit was so heartbreaking because Claire had her back more than everyone in the cookout except Hannah. And Derek X had her back more than everyone else in the cookout except Hannah. But Tiffany helped to get them out because it was what the cookout had to do. And she didn't get to reap the rewards of doing this. She had to get all the blood on her hands and then drown in the blood. So Claire gets evicted, and that was the first double eviction. And Hannah won her first HOH. Very proud of her for that. And she sticks to the plan, the target plan, Alyssa and Xavier again. This time Xavier wins the veto, and he won that veto with the utmost of ease. It was like a puzzle they had to assemble. It took him maybe a minute and a half. It was insane how fast he got through it. Like, no one else was close. Like, I know Big Brother is always worried that sometimes these competitions will take a little longer than they anticipate, but I feel like, if anything, this was faster than they anticipated, and they had dead air. So, the way he won that veto on the first double eviction night, that should have made him a target, in my opinion, because he was too good at that. He uses the veto on himself, obviously, and Hannah puts up Kyland, and he does not take it well. He's like, why would you put me up? I thought we had an understanding. Or some of his bullcrap way of talking was how he spoke to her. And like later he's just like, I feel like we're more worried about how Alyssa feels than how Kylan feels. I'm like, Kylan should feel like he is guaranteed to be in the final six with the alliance that he made week one. Like practically day one or day two. Like it was a formality. So yeah, that was just pathetic of him. He was just so whiny about it. That was really the moment where I'm just like, okay, I'm completely done with him. I'm not even gonna listen to him anymore. And then he wins the next HOH. And even without the fact that he nominated Tiffany and Hannah, it was unbearable. Because he just got so full of himself. He had HOH itis and he won the veto, which gave him HOH itis and veto itis. And I couldn't take it. And I couldn't take Derek gloating in the diary room about how Tiffany was nominated. And I'm like, you are just so jealous of this woman. You are so petty. She is everything you will never be. She actually worked to get where she is in life. And go away, bug. You're just jealous about it. Derek F will never have the respect that Tiffany has. Like, in any way. Derek F is going to be a joke in Big Brother lore. Tiffany is going to be a legend. So, like, it was at that point where I'm like, I covered my ears. I literally went like this for every Derek F. DR for the rest of the season. I couldn't listen to him. I could not do it. Because he was the worst. I'm like, how can anyone enjoy this man? How do the people in the house enjoy this man? How is he playing the best social game when he's the most irritating? Okay, second most irritating after Kylan, but still, like, they saw the way he was talking to people. They saw how badly he was playing, and they still want to keep him around. Like, his narcissism was off the charts. He kept telling everyone that he's doing everything, and they listened to him. Tiffany was the only one who called him out. Like, you haven't done jack. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. I wouldn't have if Derek F. was just a little more pleasant of a human being. So yeah, Kylan wins HOH and veto. Tiffany gets evicted unanimously. Very nice of them to not want to unanimously evict their pawns, but once it just gets down to the cookout, no, we gotta make sure Tiffany leaves unanimously. Not one pity vote, not even from Ozza. It's like that, huh? Okay, I see how you all are. Once I knew that Tiffany or Hannah was going, I'm like, whichever one stays is who I'm rooting for. So then, since it was another double eviction, after Tiffany leaves, Xavier and Ozza win the first part of it, and then they get to compete head to head. And I was just like, come on, Ozza. This is your time. You can win something. And she did. And I was happy for her. For 30 seconds. And then she told Hannah she was putting her up. That was the moment when I gave up on Ozza. I've given up on Kylan. I've given up on Derek F. I've given up on Ozza. This is where I was at. Because I knew if Hannah doesn't win the veto, she's leaving. And she didn't win the veto. Kylan did and saved Xavier. And then Ozza got mad, like, oh, why did Kylan have to do that? It's because they're obviously working together. All the men were obviously working together. You would know that if you had any game sense. Yeah, I have been... I have gotten so much crap for not worshipping the ground Ozza works on. Stop falling, Care. But Ozza was not a good player. It took her that long to win a competition. She had the chance to get out Xavier. If she had nominated Kylan and Xavier. Okay, Kylan won the veto. He would take himself off. Xavier's still there. If Ozza doesn't put up Hannah, Hannah will vote for Xavier. Ozza gets out a big threat and actually has a resume. But no, she didn't do that. She went for the only woman who was left in the house. A woman who would have been a target before her. Without a doubt. Just Ozza had the chance to make a huge move, and she blew it. and people get mad at me for calling that out. Like, I'm not gonna suck up to anybody, okay? I called out probably everybody at one point or another this season. Week 1, I was like, Derek X is not playing very well. But then suddenly he woke up and started playing amazingly well. The week Tiffany was trying to flip the vote on Christian and actually send out Sarah Beth. Like, I was so irritated at Tiffany that week because I thought she was making it way too personal in bringing Sarah Beth's relationship into it. But someone else made it more personal after that, but we'll get to that too. Yeah, I'll call out people when they make a mistake. I am pretty sure I have called out, at one point or another, every single person who was in this cast. Even Travis, week 1. Like, if I didn't call him out, I'll do it now. He played like crap. He didn't make connections. There. That's everybody now. So yeah, you were allowed to call out bad gameplay. And I called out Oz's bad gameplay, and I got plenty of hate responses. There was a day there where I muted the BB23 hashtag. I'm like, okay, no one wants to hear what I have to say. I don't want to hear what any of you have to say. Okay, that's how we're going to play. That's how we'll play it. But yeah, Ozza just kept defending herself, saying it was the right move, something she had to do. And I was just like, it was tiring, you know? I'm just like, it got to the point where now I'm just tripping over my own words. I'm just annoyed that I wasn't allowed to be mad at Ozza for it, apparently. Past, like, that night. And then, what do you know? Final 3. Xavier wins the final HOH and takes out Ozza. And it's just like, I don't want to say I told you so, because I'm tired of saying it. I said it so many times because I knew it would happen. I truly think Hannah and Ozza could have gone to the final 2 together. I really do. But Ozza threw it away so that she could be the only woman left in the house with a bunch of men. And that's why I called her Ozza Franzel. And that's why I stand by it. Sassy Sip. Haven't gotten to do one of those in a while. So, top 4. Xavier wins HOH, nominates Ozza and Kyland, and then Xavier wins the veto. And he kept noms the same. Now, when it became clear that Xavier was targeting Kyland after he made the final 2 with him, the gentleman, which is ironic because Kyland was absolutely not a gentleman. Xavier betraying him after Kyland had 2 chances in a row to take Xavier out. Like, Xavier's third HOH. He had HOH and veto. He had all the power. He could have gotten out whoever he wanted. But he didn't take out Xavier. He wanted to work with him. And then, top 5. Kylan on the veto. Xavier was on the block. He could have left him there. He could have saved Hannah and then made it unanimous for Xavier to leave. But he didn't do that because he wanted to work with Xavier. Kyland saved Xavier. Kyland didn't take a shot at Xavier when he could have. Because he had this insane belief that he wanted to be in the final 2 with a strong player. No! You don't do that! You sit in the final 2 next to a loser. You get out the strong competitors. You sit at the end next to someone who can't win anything. And look what happened. So yeah, Xavier turning on Kylan like that and taking him out when he could have, when Kylan could have saved him. Sorry, when Kylan could have taken him out but chose to save him. That was very cutthroat. Because Xavier knew that he would beat Derek F. and Ozza in the final HOH and be guaranteed a spot in the final two. Kyland was telling him to his face, like, yeah, I'm going to take you to the end. I got your back. But it's the Big Brother house. You can't trust anybody at their word completely, especially at the final four. Sorry, my phone almost fell asleep on me there. But yeah, Xavier betrayed Kyland in a very cutthroat way, and, you know, I kind of respected it. Because that's what you got to do. You want to get far in Big Brother, that's what you got to be willing to do. And Kyland, oh my God. When he was nominated, he could not have been stupider about it. Oh. He just kept being pretentious and irritating around Derek F. Like, Derek is the one person voting this week. What he says goes. He doesn't have to do what Xavier wants. He can do whatever he wants. He can do what's best for him. So Kylan just refusing to like give Derek F a straight answer on anything and just dancing around everything. It's just like, what is your plan, Kylan? It was just so stupid. He's just like treating Derek like crap, and even still treating him like crap after Kylan lost the veto. And, you know, the only thing I'm thinking in my head is dodgeball. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it plays out for him. And it didn't. And Derek voted to evict Kylan. And Kylan left in the most classless and disgusting way I have seen ever on Big Brother. I was mad at Tiffany when she started bringing Sarah Beth's relationship into the game. Into, like, her reasons for wanting to take out Sarah Beth. I'm like, you don't do that. But then Kylan took that and squared it by bringing Xavier's nephew into it. Like, that is a kid. That is a kid without a father. Xavier is playing for that kid. And Xavier's going to do what he has to do to give money to that kid. So when I heard Kylan starting to bring Xavier's nephew into it, I'm like, Xavier, hit him. Please, just hit him. Not really. But, like, was that Kylan's plan? Make Xavier hit him? And then Xavier would get disqualified? And then Kylan would get to stay? Was that Kylan's plan? So yeah, just that was embarrassing. And it hit me that if Tiffany was still there when Kylan left, like if he left the same way he did and Tiffany was still there, especially if Tiffany was the one who did it, he would have brought her son into it. I know he would have. That's who he is. He would have called her parenting into question. Because that's the kind of guy that he has proven himself to be. And then Kylan just kept defending it. And it was embarrassing. He defending it in interviews. He defended it on the finale. And like every time, it's just like, dude, no. You're wrong. You were wrong to say it. You're wrong to defend it. You're just wrong. So then we get to the final week. And Derek F had what a lot of people consider to be the worst last week of gameplay ever. And I agree. Xavier won the first part of the HOH competition, the final HOH competition. He went right to part 3. Ozza and Derek F had to compete against each other. Ozza won. So Derek F. officially went the entire season without a single win to his name. And then the way he treated Azah, spoke down to her, said he carried her, and all that, that turned her against him. And she said, like, it made her start considering if she won the final HOH, she'd just take Xavier with her. That's how mad she was at Derek F for treating her the way that he did. And like that was the culmination of how he treated all the women that season. He just didn't treat her that way because, they were on the same team. Honestly. Frenchie put that team together. The fact that he had two of them make it to the final three is painful to think about. And it's just like, these two wouldn't have gotten along. A couple different picks. Derek F could have just as easily been on Tiffany's team, and maybe they would have been at each other's hip and working together more. But no. The Jokers were such a toxic team. They just wanted each other more than anything. They just wanted to talk game with each other. It's like, get in the game more. And then Derek F still has the nerve to say he did everything this season. All the gameplay was his idea. And then when Xavier won the final HOH and he took out Azah, Julie asked Azah what she would have done if she won the final HOH. And she said she would have taken Xavier. That's how badly Derek F screwed up his last week of gameplay. He would have made Azah throw away a sure thing. Because she didn't like the way he talked to her. That's ridiculous. That's embarrassing for him. Truly embarrassing gameplay. But then again, I expected nothing less from him. So, we get the jury roundtable. And they're all discussing the game. Derek X, I love what he said. Best thing about Big D is that we have the same name. I enjoyed that very much. What I did not enjoy was Kyland telling Hannah that she and Derek F were interchangeable. No. Like, Kyland... During the second double eviction, like when they were voting out Hannah, Kyland made it a point to tell us that Derek F has done so much. And it's like, dude, we see everything. You don't. You're in the house, but you're not in every room at once. We see how Derek F is playing, and he's playing like crap. We see how Hannah's playing, and she's playing amazingly. So, him calling them interchangeable was stupid and disrespectful. And it just further shows that Kyland, much like Derek F, does not really respect women too much. Yeah. I'll keep saying it. Go ahead. Get mad at me. But it's the truth. Final speech. Derek F didn't even try. He did not try. He just laid back. And basically was like, yeah, Xavier, he's pretty good. He said without saying, Xavier deserves to win. And that's basically how... I mean, I said many times, Xavier positioned himself insanely well in the house. And he positioned himself so that he was in a Final Four that all wanted to take him to the end. The other three people all wanted to take him to the end, even though he could beat them in comps and in jury votes. The only two people in the cookout that would not have just handed Xavier the win were Hannah and Tiffany. So, yeah. It's not surprising that Xavier wanted them gone first. So after everyone casts their votes, we get the pre-jurors. We get to see them again. And they kept Frenchie on mute. We didn't get to hear from him. And I was like, thank you. I did not want to hear from this freak again. I never want to hear from him again for the rest of my life. But we didn't get to hear from Whitney either. And that was actually kind of disappointing because I checked in on her Twitter and like she was prepared to like call out the misogyny of the season from Kylan and Derek F and possibly even Xavier. I think she might have gone for Xavier as well. But she didn't get a chance to speak. We got to hear from Christian, which I expected. We got to hear from Brent. Like, really? We're letting this dude talk? But he was just talking about how amazing a game Tiffany played. I'm like, well, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? And Travis wasn't really... He didn't get to say much, but we got to hear him and Derek X say, love you. Like, they talk to each other. Like, we just got to hear Travis say, love you, Derek X. And, you know, I gotta say, that was like the bromance that never was, you know? Like, those first couple days, neither of them were playing too well, and they were really tight with each other. But Derek X realized that, like, if I try to go through this game with Travis, I'm not getting anywhere at all. So Derek X decided to fall in with Tiffany and Hannah and Claire and had to let Travis go that first week. And that was definitely the right move for Derek X's game. But still, you know, I'm not against a good bromance, okay? I watched The Walking Dead, which has had some of the best bromances ever. Like, that show gave us Rick and Daryl, Abraham and Eugene, Ezekiel and Jerry. So many great bromances on that show. And I really can't think of a great Big Brother bromance. Like, I can think of Big Brother bromances, but I wouldn't call any of them great. But bear in mind, I've only seen 17 onward. But yeah, there hasn't been a bromance where I'm like, oh, I just love these guys. I love both of these guys. I love how they get along with each other. Like, even the quintessential BB bromance was Dr. Will and Boogie, but now Boogie has a restraining order against him from Dr. Will, so that can't be the example anymore. It just literally cannot. But yeah, after everyone voted, and we got to, like, before the results, that segment I thought would just be, like, boring filler, but it was, like, kind of fun, you know? They all just got to chill, talk with each other like they were just a bunch of friends hanging out, and it was nice, you know? I enjoyed that a lot more than I thought. Everyone was just really chill. Brittany got to tell everyone that she is autistic. She's on the spectrum. And that was a really inspiring moment because, as I've said many times, I am on the spectrum. And in that way, I always kind of related to Brittany a little bit, even if she wasn't one of my favorite people of the season. And, like, I've been very vocal about how angry Memphis made me when he was talking smack about Ian's spectrum mannerisms on BB22. Just how that made me so angry. I literally lost sleep one night over it, like when it was happening. But yeah, just hearing that segment with Brittany was like, that was like, I don't want to say it was like making up for that, but it was a step forward for sure. And yeah, Kylan once again was, well, Julie brought up Kylan calling out Xavier and bringing up his nephew and trying to get Kylan to apologize for it, and he wouldn't. So it's just like he's getting to be a jerk again, and we're all just getting to see how this man really is. And, you know, I'm just enjoying watching it because I'm enjoying the fact that this man is not going to have a great BB, post BB life. I mean, his actual private life will be fine, but like his social media presence is not going to be very busy. And Derek F. revealed that he's the son of Joe Frazier. Xavier revealed he's a lawyer. And, like, congratulations, Derek. That was the one good read you had all season. And then we get to see the results, and Xavier wins unanimously. Like, at first, I was thinking it might be possibly 7-2 or 8-1. I knew Xavier would win. But, like, right at the end, like, I thought Brittany was going to vote for Derek. And I thought it's possible Kylan might be petty, but, like, hearing them at the end, I'm just like, nah, they're going to vote for Xavier. And I was right, and it was unanimous. Now, the response to Xavier winning has been, like, mixed to positive. Like, people didn't really want him, per se. They wanted Hannah or Tiffany or Derek X or even Claire. But, like, of who was left, everyone wanted Xavier. Well, most people. Definitely everyone wanted Xavier between Xavier and Derek F. That was for sure. And, you know, there is the fact that Xavier is the first African-American winner of Big Brother in 23 seasons. So people are excited about that. I mean, like, we knew that would happen once it got down to the final 6, but I get why people are excited about it. It is something worth being excited about. Like, 23 seasons, that's way too long. There just haven't been very many people of color, period. Like, Casey, Josh, and June, I believe, are the only 3. I don't know all the Big Brother winners off the top of my head. But I know it was 3. Well, now 4 with Xavier. Yeah, Xavier, like, once we saw who the final 4 was, I'm like, it better be Xavier at this point. He deserved to win over the rest of them because Kyland was problematic, Ozza was a bad player, and Derek F. was both. So, I'm just like, please just let Xavier win this thing. And also just let him win so I can win the draft I did with my family. The draft I did, like, it was between me, my dad, my brother, and we did a 3-way draft. So, we each got 5, and we left someone out. I let my dad get first pick because he already kind of picked. I let my brother pick second because I figured it's the only way I could get him to join in. And then I went third. And here's how it went. My dad picked Derek F. Yeah, we mocked him for that endlessly. Travis. Brittany, Christian, Alyssa. My brother he first picked Ozza, then Kyland, then Tiffany, then Derek X, and then Whitney. I picked Xavier first. Hannah, Claire, Sarah Beth, and then I had to choose between Brent and Frenchie, and I'm like, neither of these guys give me good vibes, but I reluctantly went with Brent. And yeah, all of our first picks were the final 3. Which I thought was insane, and I'm really kind of proud of it. But yeah, I won the draft. I get first pick next year, so yay me. As for America's favorite player, now it became readily apparent to me, just looking at social media, that Tiffany and Derek X were going to be the top 2. Now, I voted for Derek X because Derek X was my favorite. I love the guy. I loved him. But I knew there was a very strong possibility Tiffany could win it. And when they were announced as the top 2, I was not surprised, and I'm like, you know what? This is the deserving top 2. No matter what happens, I'm going to be happy. And Tiffany won, and I was happy for her. Like, I wanted Derek X to win because he was my favorite, but I also kind of wanted Tiffany to win just as a screw you to to Derek F. and Kyland. And this is the last thing I want to mention. Derek F. said in a podcast, he said, I told Ozza the truth, like regarding how he was talking to her his last week. He said, I told her the truth and she wants to play victim. And honestly, F this man. I hate this man. He does not have any respect for women at all. He was with Ozza the whole season and he had no respect for her. But she believed he did. He tricked her into thinking that he did. Like, he knows how to trick people into thinking he respects them, but he doesn't know how to respect them. Not people, women. That came out wrong. Women are people. But I don't mean all people. I mean just women. You say Tiffany didn't deserve to win because, like, I guess there was something about how he thought she was selfish for wanting to play for her son. Like, give the money for her son. I guess, like, he was mad she brought her son into it. I'm like, really? You're not playing for your family? He said so many times he's playing for his mom. But Tiffany brings up her son. No, that's uncalled for. And they said Hannah doesn't deserve to win because she's young. Seriously? I'm gonna end this stream by just saying I hate Derek F. I hate Kyland. I hate Brent. I hate Frenchie. I hope that they just disappear from BB lore forever. But Frenchie and Derek F are not going to disappear because they were spectacularly bad at the game. Kylan, let's just ignore him forever. And Brent, let's just hope he gets arrested. No, let's not hope that because that would mean he would have to, like, get caught doing something super illegal to women. And I don't wish that on anyone. Or maybe Hannah could press charges on him grabbing her butt week 1 or 2. That was the toga party for Kylan's birthday party. Yeah, that was week 1. But yes, that was me catching up on the episodes I missed streaming about. I'll probably do another one. I might do like a full breakdown of the season, like the contestants, how they did. I don't intend for this to be my last BB stream. I'll come up with something else. I want to do at least one more. And I think I might watch Celebrity Big Brother. Depends on who they get. But yeah, it was good to finally do another one of these. I do have one viewer. Wish I could have had more. Wish I could have interacted with more people. But, you know, you can interact. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. I'll respond. But yeah, that's BB23. Our winner is Xavier. First black winner in Big Brother history. And I think that's a pretty big deal. Alright. That'll do it for this stream. I'll see you next time.